This is a podcast about both having autism and living with someone who has autism. My mom is Sonya, and I'm Josh, and this is Josh Has Autism.
Hey everybody, welcome to Josh Has Autism.
Hello.
Yep, we're happy you're here again.
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody, before we go any further, thank you very much for the 5-star reviews. We appreciate it very much. We appreciate the emails that you send us, so keep that coming if you would.
Yeah.
We love it. You give us some great ideas and topics to talk about, so thank you for that.
Yeah.
And so the topic I want to talk about today, Josh, is about becoming a librarian.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. It's your favorite, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a good point to make that just because somebody has autism doesn't mean that they don't have dreams, doesn't mean that they don't have goals, doesn't mean that they can't have a successful career path. And I know that that's something that you've felt like you've failed in, that you've struggled in with college.
Yeah.
And but I do know, but I just want to talk about that a little bit. Not your struggles, but the fact that you want things just like anybody else wants things. You just happen to have autism.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that the autism doesn't mean that you can't achieve what you want. In your case, you hit a few bumps along the way, but it doesn't mean that it can't happen. Yeah. And that's come up again. We're working with Voc Rehab, and library studies has come up again.
Yeah.
So we went in, we sat down, and there was a whole list of job careers that you could, field a study.
Yeah.
And what happens is, Voc Rehab, they say that they're not in the business of educating, they're in the business of getting you into a job.
Right.
And if that means education, and that works out, then they're fine with that. So what that means is that there has to be enough jobs available at the end of a degree program and to warrant them paying for somebody to go to school.
Right.
Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So every time we go in, you look at the list, you look at what there is. There's two things that come up every time. Mm-hmm. You want to say them?
Yeah, you can.
Library studies, mm-hmm. and museum curator. Every single time. Yeah. Because those are both things that just are high on your interest list and you would be very good at.
Yeah.
So would we've talked before on the podcast about your love for reading. Mm-hmm. And about that's your favorite thing.
Yeah.
It kind of does more than just take you away someplace. It calms you down.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it really helps me. Yes, it helps me get away from real life for a while. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm also in the story. Like, I'm seeing it happen in my head. Mm-hmm. I'm not even reading the words. I'm just seeing it happen.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So
it makes sense that's your favorite thing of all time. Yeah. That it makes sense that you'd want to work at a library.
Yeah.
There's more though than just reading that's involved in being a librarian.
Yeah.
Do you know what's involved?
Yeah, actually. There's not just librarians, mm-hmm. for one thing. Mm-hmm. There's library technicians, there's library, I guess they're called tellers or something like that. Not tellers. I forget the term now.
Okay.
But they're higher up than technicians.
Okay. Assistant?
Well,
library assistant?
That's even above this one.
Okay.
But yes, there are library assistants as well.
Yeah, I don't know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, I totally forget what the term is.
Okay.
At the moment. Mm-hmm. But library technicians are probably what you think of when you think of librarian initially. Mm-hmm. They're the people who check out books for you. Mm-hmm. They're the people who put the books away, who catalog everything. And
are they the ones that go shh?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you'd like, wherever we live, wherever we are, you like to find out where the libraries are. You like to go visit.
Yeah.
You like everything about them, it seems.
Yeah. The higher up positions mm-hmm. are actually kind of surprising in what they do. They are more, rather than being in charge of things, they're more in charge of people.
Mm-hmm. And that's something that you've said, that you want to be in charge of things, not people.
Yes.
So, another thing that I know is that depending on what library somebody works, they either have a master's degree or a doctorate.
Usually, yes.
Yes, depending on the I guess the level.
Yes.
But that's not what you're interested in.
No.
Okay, because you want to be in charge of things.
Yes.
Those things being books.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And occasionally helping other people. Yes. Mm-hmm. Find the books that they want. Mm-hmm. But one of the going up to library assistant and librarian. Mm-hmm. Librarian is essentially an administration position, mm-hmm. administrative position.
Right.
They, like I said, they're in charge of everyone else, as well as figuring out which kind of books to get, what kind of events to hold, mm-hmm. different things like that. The assistant librarian assists the librarian in what they need, mm-hmm. whether it be in all of those things or paperwork or things like that.
So still doing things, research or gathering information, documents like flyers or what have you, anything like that to promote an event that's coming up.
Yeah.
Again, you're not in charge of people. You're in charge of the things that you're going to need.
You're more in charge of people than a let's say a library technician.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Which one do you want?
Honestly, I'd love to be in the technician position.
Do you need any schooling for that?
There is a little bit of schooling. Generally speaking, as long as you have your high school diploma or GED equivalent, mm-hmm. you can become a technician. But it's best if you have at least an associate's degree.
Okay. Because that's something that keeps coming up, and I'm wondering if that's... See, I didn't know the answer to that either. Just now. I didn't know if you needed college to be a technician or not. So, with that information, I mean, what do you... Because you've been talking about it, so what do you think you're going to do? Because you have a job. You have a job now, and you work hard.
Yeah.
And you're getting better at it.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that... when you're supposed to be at work, you're at work on time.
Yeah.
You're where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there.
Yes.
And I think that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a very good...
habit to be in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you've got that, and it's going well, and yet in your heart, you just kind of want to be a librarian or library tech.
Yes.
Yeah. So, we've talked before about going to school, and so in the beginning of this podcast, I mentioned, only because we'd kind of been batting that around a little bit, not being able to get through college so far has been that thing that really...
has been holding me back.
You personally.
Yes.
Maybe not from becoming a library tech.
Right.
But it's something that's really hurt you I think emotionally you feel upset by that, and so what does that mean? Like you had said before, no, you didn't want to go to school, and now you're saying that you should probably have an associate's to do that. So what are you going to do?
I might just have to buckle down and get my associate's degree. I mean, I am already more than halfway through it.
Mm-hmm.
And college has always been difficult for me because of the expectations of the individual professors don't quite match up to what I was used to in high school, middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And it's difficult to work to their expectations, to have my work emulate what they want. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. It does. Sometimes I wonder if it's the organization that it takes, for you to... Because just like with work, you'll be at school on time.
Yeah.
Then sometimes it seems like the organization that it takes to be successful has been kind of tripping you up and other times. But you know what? One of the benefits that you have now, we've mentioned it before, Richard.
Yeah.
That such a cool guy. He's on the spectrum, and he called and talked to you for a while about what he still texts back and forth with me. That's awesome. He's a really nice guy. I'd love to have him on the podcast. He's very encouraging and gives you tips on how to get through college in a successful way.
Yeah.
So I think maybe, armed with, Richard now, because you didn't have him before, but with all that knowledge and support and help, I just think, that's something you haven't had before. Right. So that's pretty cool. But
let me clarify that. I have had help before, not from someone who's been there, done that, been on the spectrum.
Right. Exactly. Yep. And we've talked before about how it's difficult going from high school when you have all the supports, all the safety nets in place, and then you get out of high school and they're gone.
Yeah.
And there's some laws that protect people with a disability.
Using air quotes there.
I just used air quotes. But it's difficult because it's not the same. You don't have all that. Like I've said it before, you were kind of like in a cocoon in high school, and then now you're just tossed out, and you have to go get the help on your own.
Right.
And that's something that you haven't done.
Right.
And I don't mean that accusingly either. It's just a fact. For whatever reason, it was a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes sense. It's always made sense for you to work in a library. So my question is, why haven't you?
In the past, in high school, for example, I have worked in libraries. I was actually the assistant librarian at my high school for a number of years, actually, while I was still a student there. But then I graduated, and it just seemed like college was just the big thing to do. And then it
was a struggle because of things we talked about, things we just now talked about.
Yeah.
It's more than just are you intelligent enough to comprehend a course study.
Right.
It's not. There's far more to it than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I get that. So you're saying that you didn't want to go back again because of the disappointments?
Not quite. It just had never really been thought of as a possibility.
Okay.
Until very recently.
Mm-hmm. So it being a possibility, is that something that you're going to pursue? Because you said, like when I said, what are you going to do? Well, are you going to take steps to make that happen, or is it just something that you think about when we talk about it? Is it something you think about on your own without us having a conversation about it, or where does it fall in there?
To be fair, it comes up more often whenever I'm talking with you.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I read constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And that may not necessarily have a direct impact on being a library tech.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense that you don't really read, you put the books away and you rent them out, so to speak. But my point is that I lost my train of thought. So I lost my point too.
Well, okay. What makes sense to me is that, yes, you love reading so that you would be doing other things, not just sitting around reading. If you worked at a library, you're getting paid to work there, not sit around and read.
Right.
Yet, books are your favorite thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're surrounded with your favorite thing, there is a comfort level that happens.
Yeah.
That it just seems like that's where you're happy.
Yeah.
So it's something that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That it's to be surrounded by something that is just absolutely your favorite. And I know that you like types of books, yet what I know about you is that you like all books.
Yes.
Like you just love books. You like the way people string together phrases.
Yeah.
And the way that they can make you laugh or, like you said, carry you away.
Yeah.
Something that surprises me about you is that you read on your phone a lot. And maybe I shouldn't be surprised because, it's just easy. And it's
Well, that and I had read pretty much all the books I own.
Well, I'm surprised that you don't buy books and have that physical book in your hand instead of reading on your phone.
Right.
But is it because those books are not put in print? They're online books?
The particular ones that I've been reading recently are not officially sanctioned books. They are never going to be in print.
Okay.
AKA they're fan fiction. Meaning they are
knockoffs?
So to speak. I wouldn't go that far.
Right.
I'd say that they're works of fiction written about other works of fiction.
So one time you explained it to me, it's like a story about the characters in Harry Potter that were not written by the original author.
Yes.
Okay. And they're never intended to be passed as written by the original author.
Right.
It's very well known that this is a different author utilizing those characters.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
A fan, so to speak, writing their own fiction.
Fan fiction.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And so I've been reading a lot of that lately, which some of it's really good, actually. I know of several authors on different websites of fan fiction that have actually gone on to write their own books and have done very well with it too. They use fan fiction as a springboard.
Well, so what do you think you need to do? Like, what are the steps to take?
I think that I need to make sure that I am mentally doing better than I have been before I can consider going to school again.
Okay.
With that said, I would like to try and volunteer at a library.
All right. Cool.
And hopefully that will get me back into the groove of things and will motivate me, I guess, to go to school and finish up a degree.
Right.
And get a job working in a library.
Mm-hmm. That will be cool.
Yeah.
And is it... I know you just said that you need a college degree, so is it possible that you volunteer and then get hired, or do they want the experience plus college?
Usually it is a mixed bag.
Yeah, okay.
It really is a mixed bag.
Right. And I know you just mentioned that, but I wasn't sure if you had to have the college to...
For the higher up positions, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Like, for a librarian or an assistant librarian, you need at least a master's degree. And that's on the lower end of the spectrum for getting a job as a librarian.
Mm-hmm.
Because you also have to have experience, a little bit of experience working at different libraries in different positions to be able to get that job.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's interesting to me because you said that you mostly think about it when you talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like that's the way it is with a lot of subjects.
Yes.
And so it makes me wonder, if you don't think about it unless you're talking to me about it, is it really important to you?
Yeah. It is. It is important to me. It just... It's like important ideas that get shelved for a movie.
Oh. Shelved. I thought you were making a... Because I thought you were making... Because we were talking about a library. And she said, ideas that get shelved.
Oh. That was a bad pun.
I thought you were making a bad pun. I thought you were making a bad pun. But you're not?
No, I'm not.
Okay. All right.
No, I was talking about, like, whenever a movie idea gets shelved.
Right, I get it.
It
gets put away for a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that it's not thought of. It's just not happening right then.
Mm-hmm. And we've been talking lately about that for some reason you've had a difficult time. You do something very, very well that most of us strive to do, and that is live in the moment.
Yeah.
So the rest of us are trying meditation. We're, asking our guides for help. We're, anything and everything. So you are right there. It just comes super easy for you.
Yeah, it's really not all it's hyped up to be.
Well, that's because what's happening, from what you've explained to me, is that you're not able, for some reason, to think of anything in advance.
Yeah.
You're not able to keep in mind something that's coming up, or keep in mind something you need to plan for.
Much more than a week out, yeah.
Yeah, and that's new.
Yes.
And that's something that we're going to address. We're going to, with people that you see, and see what's going on there with that.
Yeah, your people should talk to my people.
That's right. We'll get it done. We'll get it done. Right, and so that's been a struggle for you lately.
Yes.
Right. So you think that that's why you like this with a library, getting a job at a library, you haven't thought about it because of whatever it is that's going on that's interfering in your thought process?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Among other shelved things. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you have a shelf with all kinds of things that you'd like to do.
Yeah.
That you would enjoy doing and that do matter to you. But right now you're not able to do anything about it.
What do you mean just a shelf? It's a whole back room.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. Because it is, I see that kind of on a regular basis now, that just the ideas that the you'll bring something up, it matters to you, I can tell it matters to you, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
And if I bring it back up to you, ask you about it, you're like, oh yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So it makes it for me anyway. That's why I ask you: does it matter to you? You know, because I that's something that's not, I guess, typical. Certainly not of you.
Right.
Yeah. You just gave me the motion that said we need to wrap up. You're getting pretty wiped out?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's good enough reason to stop right now. Thanks for talking about that, though.
Yeah.
So, just let me know if you need help doing that, or...
Well, yeah, steps. I do.
Okay. All right. Then you want me to bring it up to you tomorrow? And I can remind you maybe to call libraries and see if you can volunteer?
Maybe, yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I'm
you're already gone? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, got it. All right.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. Thank you, everybody, for listening and hanging out with us. Check out the website, please. It's sonyaking.com, SONYAKING.com. We do this podcast every week, and there's a blog written that goes along with it, and you can find that on the website, among other things. So, anyway, I hope you're having a good day. I hope you have a good week, and thanks for hanging out with us. Love you.
Bye.